Lovebugs. Welcome to another episode of Girls Night. Today we have another guest, Aspen Noonan. Aspen is a dynamic, trailblazing CEO who's shaking up the medical cannabis space through innovation and heart. At just 27 years old, Aspen leads Elevate Holistics, a telehealth platform dedicated to making medical cannabis more accessible to the people who truly need it. Her mission is to help 1 million individuals obtain their medical marijuana cards, a goal rooted in genuine patient advocacy and her passion for holistic health. Before stepping into the CEO role, Aspen built her leadership foundation through multiple roles in health and wellness and as president of the University of Missouri's chapter of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. She's here to share her journey from student advocate to CEO, her vision for the future of telehealth and cannabis, and the lessons she's learned about leadership, impact, and building a purpose-driven business. Aspen, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here. Hi, everyone. Life can get a little crazy, so let's talk about it. If you're ready to dive deeper, talk about what really matters, and feel a little more empowered, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Carly Dockstader. I'm a life coach, baker, dog mom of 2, and you're always there for you gal pal. And I'm so excited to have you join me. So grab your fuzzy socks, put on your comfy pants, and let's have girls' night. Hi, it's so nice to be here. I'm so excited to talk about cannabis, the industry, how I got into it, what it means to me, and, hopefully help some people come out of the green closet or inspire someone to become an entrepreneur and try their own, business in the cannabis industry. I love that. So let's start there. Let's start at the beginning. What really inspired you to get into medical cannabis and into this whole industry to begin with?
Great question. I did not grow up around cannabis. I hadn't heard of it. The only familiarity I had with any sort of drug was through DARE at, school.
Right.
And I went to college and I found cannabis and I noticed that it was really helpful for me in ADHD and focusing. So from 8 years old to 18 years old, I was on Adderall, Concerta, Vyvanse, and just a really intense cocktail of what a lot of people call speed, but a lot of other people call it medicine. And so I didn't really notice anything of it. What becomes a part of your regular everyday, you just kind of take and you live with. But I realized when I consumed cannabis in college, I didn't have the side effects. Like my hands wouldn't sweat. I wouldn't have a hard time falling asleep. My jaw wouldn't be tight all day long. And so I thought those were things people lived with on a normal everyday basis. And I was like, dang, if I stop taking these pills and I start consuming cannabis, and I'm not saying people should do that with their prescription medication, but it really did work for me. And I thought if it worked for me, how can it help other people? And that's when I started Googling things about it and learning that, wow, this might be recreational in college, but it's actually a medical plant and, it could be my passion in life and it has ever since.
That's awesome. I think that's a great story. And I've had other guests on the podcast too that have talked about cannabis and the effects that it's had on their health. So this is not an isolated incident, which is really cool. For anybody who's interested in hearing more stories like that, I'll include links in the show notes to those other stories. But what they've shared is that it's helped improve their physical health, it's helped improve their mental health in a lot of different ways. It's helped with PTSD. So it's cool to hear that this is another story where you were able to completely get off your medications, right?
Yeah, and I love that you said it helps with. So I feel like cannabis isn't a cure, right? Like you're not going to take it and not have cancer anymore, not have ADHD or get rid of your depression, but it's such a solid, help. It's a solid crutch, if you will. Like when your leg's broken, you don't just walk on it. You have a crutch, you have a little bit of help. So if you're depressed and you can't sleep or you have no appetite, it's the perfect little crutch to get you through. And so if that's increasing someone's quality of life, we should not limit access. And that's kind of how I got onto the medical marijuana card side because it's basically a ticket to access.
Yeah, and I feel like did you get your medical card in Florida or did you
Yeah,
okay.
I got my first medical card in Missouri, and now I have my medical card in Florida. So wherever I live is where my medical card lives. I'm not
Right.
gonna I'm not gonna be without one.
Well, because I feel like like way back when I was a kid, it was a lot harder to get a medical card, and then it kind of switched over to where it was really easy to get a medical card.
Yeah.
And now obviously in Colorado, it's legalized, right? So you can just have recreational, you can have medical. It's all those different things. So can you talk about that process that you went through getting your medical card? Was it difficult for you to get it, or was it on the easier side?
Yeah, so the first time you get a medical card in a lot of places, you have to go in person to see a doctor. You have to talk to your doctor about it, which is something a lot of people are not comfortable with. I did
Hmm.
not want to bring this to my primary care provider. I didn't want to be kicked off of, my parents' insurance at the time. So it was actually, quite complicated. I had to find someone that would be super discreet, and I didn't want it to be online because I didn't want my paper trail to be anywhere. And I realized later, of course, that's not a thing. People with patient records, it's all HIPAA compliant.
Right.
So I did end up just going to a random guy to get me my medical card, to be honest. They write you a recommendation and the state does all the rest. And that was only one time. The past 6 years, I've gone through my company, which is a nice perk. But yeah, just doing it online with someone that you can trust.
On that note, too, can you actually tell us a little bit more about what Elevate Holistics does about the
Yeah.
company? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do 100% online medical marijuana cards in 18 states. So you're probably wondering, why are you in so many states? So a lot of the states are medical only. You need a medical card in order to access weed. If you want edibles, tinctures, if you want to smoke, whatever, you have to have a medical card. But in a lot of states, you can just go buy it. The benefit of getting a medical card in states that it's recreational is the tax savings. It's anywhere from 15 to 25% off every single purchase by having this medical card because you're not paying the state taxes when you have it. So that's kind of been the benefit for recreational consumers because they're like, okay, yeah, I had my medical card when I needed it. Now I don't because it's rec. But it's almost like I have less access to product and I need more discounts because I'm consuming so much. So the medical card industry does a 180 and people, get medical cards for different reasons. But it's all online. You fill out forms, video chat a doctor. We have a 99% approval rate. So you'll get an approval email basically right after the appointment. We do it within an hour or two, and then we handle all the state paperwork. And that's pretty much it. It's very hands off, very discreet, and it takes maybe 15 minutes of the
Wow.
patient's time.
That's cool.
Pretty
And
simple.
I think it's cool that you have simplified it so much and made it so easy for somebody to go through that process because one, the healthcare industry can be very complicated on its own. Lots of
Yeah.
regulations. I've sold tech into the health industry or surrounding the health industry and health benefits, stuff like that for a very long time. It can be very complicated. But then also the marijuana industry also obviously has a lot of regulation.
Yeah.
So how have you balanced that? Like in your company, how have you balanced all those different regulations and doing everything that you need to do and making it so simple for people to navigate that?
That's a great question. I say a checklist. So over, being around for 6 years, we've come up with the perfect checklist to be able to stay on top of state changes for laws, whether that's telemedicine, whether it's a nurse practitioner versus a doctor or an attending doctor on top of the nurse practitioner's approval. So in order to open up into a new state, we've gotten that time down from 3 months to 2 weeks through this checklist of saying, okay, what do they allow? What do they need from the doctor? What do they need from us? And then just staying up to date on that information. And I think that that's kind of what's made us stand out in this industry is we are able to change, we're able to pivot. I reference that couch pivot in my team from the friends probably once a month, and I'm like, all right guys, like another law change, let's go. And we say, change is the only constant. But yeah, it's a lot of change, but I think that's what keeps us on our toes. It keeps us,
Mhm.
you know able to stand out. And being in 18 states, I can tell you there are no two states that getting a medical card is the exact same process. It's
Yeah.
different everywhere. The qualifying conditions are different everywhere. The paperwork is, and we just streamlined it basically. So I think the system's perfect. I would love someone to come in and roast me on it and tell me what I could do better, but That's how we get better.
Well, I think it's great that you have that attitude because I feel like it's so easy to get stuck in this thought process of no, like what we're doing is fine, what we're doing is working, like why would we change anything? But I
Yeah.
think that's how companies end up failing, right? Is that they don't want to look at better ways to do things. So I think the fact that
Yeah.
you said that just shows that you're willing to innovate, right?
Yes. I'm like, what do I need to change? Why was there friction in your experience? How could I make this? Like, I want someone to be able to do it with their eyes closed that's never even
Mhm.
worked on a computer. That's my dream. So, however I can get there, always open to feedback.
So can you actually talk about, I'm interested in this journey that you've had as well. So you're obviously young, right? You're 27, and even when we first talked, I wasn't expecting you to be 27, right? And I think that's maybe just the
Well, no.
intrinsic biases that people have, but you're 27, you're a CEO. Before that, you were the director of operations,
Yeah.
if I'm remembering your title correctly before that, which is, I mean, I think that's such an interesting career projection, especially being CEO so young. What
Yeah.
challenges have been the most prominent in your career? And I guess a part two to that, what challenges have been the most prominent now that you've taken over as CEO for this company?
That's a great question. I think entrepreneurship is as much an emotional journey as it is a business journey. Like you will learn as much about yourself as you do about your company or as about your business. So I think I've been humbled to say the least when I was first given, the opportunity to be CEO over a year ago. I thought, perfect, no one can do this better. I've been at the company the longest. I know everything there is to know about every single one of our operations, which was true. But that means I had nothing to do with marketing, development, finance, taxes.
Mhm.
Like there is just this constant state of being humbled. And I love it
Mhm.
because it keeps me on my toes and keeps me able to change and learn and grow. But I think I have said to myself recently, I know less now than I did a year ago, just because you lift the curtain to so many things and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was back there. I have a lot more to go, but at least now I know what I don't know, as
Right.
a, as opposed to blindly saying I know everything. And I think, that's what's going to set us up for another successful year. But I've also learned that trying new and exciting things is really fun and it's spontaneous and it can help things really spike, but there's nothing like strategic long-term growth. And so my analogy there is like I use a forest because I'm kind of a
Mhm.
hippie. So sometimes I'm in the trees and I'm talking with the trees and I'm picking the leaves to make sure none of them are dead and checking on the animals and the soil. But then sometimes you need to get in a helicopter and say, what's my bird eye view? Like, what's happening above? Are these things running straight? Does the whole entire, forest look healthy and not just these individuals? And so being able to pivot from within the trees to above the trees and keeping on like a level head and not getting altitude adjustments. It's a challenge and it's really exciting and it pushes me every single day. And I'm very humbled. Again, like that's the theme of today.
That's the theme, humbleness.
Yes. Being humbled.
Two things on that. Well, actually three, I guess. So one, being humble is like such an important trait to have, I feel like, especially when you are in a leadership position, because
Yes.
it lets you learn and it lets you pivot. And it lets you let the people that know better than you, that are smarter than you, do what they do best, right?
Yes. Like I want people to set their own goals and achieve them. I'm not the expert in marketing. Therefore, if I tell you to double the amount of our sessions and you tell me I'm crazy, like I'm going to believe you. So I need you to set your own goals, come back to me with how we're going to get there, and then just align to everything that you set out to do. And I think when people are given the opportunity to step up to the plate and show what they can do without micromanagement,
Hmm.
people show off. They're like, "Oh, I can do this all by myself. Like, watch me." And I
Hmm.
I love that and I operate the same way. I'm very much like, "Oh, you think I can do that? Like, I'm going to blow your mind."
Yeah.
So, and I think
Yeah.
people do that as well.
Yeah. And on that point too, with micromanaging, I so despise
Yeah.
micromanaging. Like in the jobs that I've had, It's been so hard for me to stay motivated when I have a boss that's micromanaging me. I've always performed the best when I have a boss that just trusts me to do what they hired me to do. And it
Yeah.
just like gives you that freedom to be like to be an adult, one, and to know that you're trusted with what you're meant to do.
Exactly. And I don't think everyone has that same personality. Like, I don't
Mhm.
think everyone will, but then that's okay. It's just not the right
Right.
job for them. If I'm the type of leader that wants people to set their own goals, and you're the type of, employee that wants goals set for them and told exactly what to do every step of the way, then like we're just not a good match.
Right.
My leadership style is not a good match. During my interview process, I have a quote that I give people at the end of round one. I always say, I don't care what the goal is, or if you get there by plane, train, or, automobile. I don't know what I say. It's three
Yeah.
things. But I don't care how you get there, what people you need, what systems you need. Let's just meet the goal. Get there
Mhm.
however you think is best, right?
Well, I think it's good that you're so familiar with your leadership style too.
Yeah. Bird eye view. Like when
Hmm.
you're in it and you're saying these things to people, it's so easy to ignore like the fact that you're saying these things. But once you step back and you like listen to the words and listen to my own advice, I'm like, okay, this is my leadership style. Let's put it in bullet points. Like I'm very freedom driven. I want people to have their own freedom, but if people don't step up to that freedom, then they're not a good fit. So it's basically you make your own bed.
Hi, Love Bug. I've got a juicy little gift for you. And if you've been feeling off, stuck in your head, or like your vibe just is not vibing lately, then this is for you. I created a free guide called The Three Secrets to Creating a Magnetic Energy Shift right now. And it's exactly what you need to start shifting your energy instantly. These are the exact tools I use with my private coaching clients when they're ready to stop chasing and start attracting. We're talking powerful, we're talking practical, and yes, of course, we are talking a little bit woo, but in the best possible way. In the guide, you will learn how to clear energetic blocks, activate your most irresistible frequency, shift into receiving mode, and there's even a bonus secret on how to use your body language to instantly boost your confidence and presence. So, if you're ready to feel like the version of you who turns heads, magnetizes opportunities, and walks through the world like the main character, then this is your sign. Head to the show notes and click the link to download your free copy. It is quick, it is powerful, and it is going to leave you feeling like, damn, I really am that girl. All right, let's get back into the episode. Well, I think part of it too is that you're just so you have this very like easy confidence about you. And I think even as you I mean, even as you were talking about how you came to be CEO, you were like, well, nobody else would be better for this job than me. And I think a lot of women actually really struggle with that. Like, even when you think about women applying for jobs, way
Yeah.
more men are going to apply for a job that they don't feel qualified for. And a lot of women only apply for jobs that they feel like they have hit every single mark of
Yes.
every single thing that's listed in the job description, which is like kind of crazy because nobody ever has every single thing in the job description. But most women won't even try if they don't think that they're going to exceed and excel in something. So I feel like your confidence has really played a role in that. So can you touch on that a little bit more? Like, I guess touch on your confidence and how that does affect your role, but like, how did you get to the place where you are with believing in yourself so much?
That is such a deep question. I love that. How am I confident? I don't think there was anything specific that I've done. I've just always trusted myself to make the right decisions, and if I make them wrong, at least it's gotten me to where I am today, and I just look around and I love my life, and if there's anything in my life I don't love, I'm very, very quick to change it. I don't let things pester. So it's just kind of this reality of I could make the wrong choice, I could make the right choice, but it's going to get me exactly where I'm supposed to be, exactly where the company's supposed to be. And it's kind of this deep inner, like emotional thought of just like it's kind of hippy dippy, but like everything's how it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
And just trust yourself. Everyone's experiencing Earth for the first time. No one knows what the hell we're doing. We're all just guessing. And I think also what's been humbling is when I lift the curtain behind things that I don't know a lot about. If you really deep dive into any specific career, it's quite easy to learn. Like if you're an accountant and you're spending 40 hours a week in Excel sheets and numbers, and someone from a marketing team looks at that and they're like, "Oh, way too complicated. I could never do it." It's like, well, if you spent
Mhm.
120 hours a month of your life, you could do it. Like anyone could do anything. And so
Yeah.
with the right amount of time and effort, we all come from the same place, which is, well, we don't know where, but
Right.
we're all born and we all have the exact same, opportunities. We all have Google, we all have, time. Not everyone has money. I know I certainly didn't. I started
Mhm.
interning and working for free, and that's a whole nother story for another
Right.
time. But yeah, I don't know. It's a deep question.
Well, I mean, I think that that's a good point too, because you didn't let the obstacles that a lot of people let hold them back. You didn't let them hold you back. You didn't let the fact that you weren't making a ton of money hold you back from getting to where you are today. You
Yeah,
didn't, you worked past it. And as you said, like there's so many resources for people to create the life that they want. I mean, it's like YouTube University, or, right? Like you can look up almost anything on YouTube. There's courses about everything, so you can learn about stuff for free. So you
yeah,
can get better at it for free. It's just a matter of actually dedicating yourself to it and setting aside the time, I guess the time to do it.
yeah.
But I'm of the firm belief that if something really is that important to you, like you're going to make it happen.
Absolutely. I completely agree. People have how much screen time on their social medias, or, I'll be having a slow day at work and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so slow. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, wait, this is up to me. Like, if I want to be busy and I want to be inundated with things, send out 10 emails.
Hmm.
I promise I'll end up busy after that. So
Right.
whatever you want to happen, like, make it happen. You
Right.
got you got this. I don't want to say anyone crazy like Jeff Bezos or something is just this billionaire that has Amazon. We're all not going to create Amazon, but the guy did start in his garage. Like that's
Right.
that's kind of inspiring.
Right. And that's how all the big companies started. They started in their garage. And I think, or at least what I've heard, is that they're just the ones that decided to keep going. They're the ones that decided to keep pivoting. They're the ones that decided that it was worth it for them because there's so many companies that just, they're not willing to put in the time. They're not willing to put in the effort. And they just kept going. I think it's more so for big companies like that. It's more so about longevity because
Yeah,
Amazon wasn't even Amazon when it started. Like Amazon started out as a bookstore
right.
and now it's the Amazon that we all know.
He did not dream of that on day one, because how could you
Mhm.
dream of everything?
Right.
Like the company does everything. No one dreams of that on day one, but he thought, okay, I'll do books. And oh, books are going well. We're making some money. Let me do shoes. Okay, let's combine them all. And so now you have this dream that's bigger than life and this man with more money, than
Hmm.
anyone can fathom. And so was he the best person in the world to have all that money? Probably not. But did he just keep going and not stop? Okay, I guess that's all it takes. And
Yeah.
so, like, good people start doing that.
Right.
Imagine what the world could look like.
Exactly, exactly. And what that reminds me of, or what that makes me think of, I guess, rather, is that the universe will always over deliver. So that sounds hippy dippy too, but we're all about hippy dippy here, Aspen.
There we go.
Like when you decide to dedicate yourself to something, the universe will always over deliver on what you're looking to do. But at the same time, you also have to put the work in yourself. Like you also have to take those steps yourself because nobody
Yeah.
wants to drag around dead weight, right? Like it has to be a team effort in order to make that happen.
I totally agree. And kind of what you said there, it's almost like this frequency of the analogy I can think of right now is like a friend. When you stop talking to a friend that no longer serves you, you don't see them again. Like their
Hmm.
social media stops popping up. You don't really run into them at the grocery store. You don't see their family anymore. Like you just move on from that frequency. And so whatever frequency you create for yourself, that's the playing field you'll be on. So if we're gonna get really hippy dippy.
Honestly, for real though. And I saw this thing on TikTok once. It was like, I forget what it was called exactly, but it was like the last meeting theory or something like that, where when you're
Ooh.
done in each other's lives, like I think it was in reference to a breakup rather than like a friendship or something like that, but I think it works for like all aspects where when you have learned the lesson, when you have done what you needed to do with that person, you will never see them again. Like it doesn't matter how close you live together, it doesn't matter how often you go to the same places. Like when your lessons have been learned with each other, you will not run into each other ever again. And I think that's kind of what you're referencing too, where it's like, okay, I've moved on from this friendship, like now all of a sudden I never even see their car. I never see their family. I never see anything about them.
Wow, the final meeting. I haven't heard that, but I totally experienced that in life. Like once I've closed a chapter, I'll think back a few years later, I'm like, dang, they
Yeah.
never came around again. Like,
Yeah.
good thing. No, it ended or whatever.
Another thing that you mentioned too. So you were saying that running a business is just as much an emotional job. So what have you done to, I guess, keep your emotions in check? I'm going to put that in quotes, but also to work through those emotions as they rise up, because obviously that's going to happen.
Yeah, I honestly am just the most vulnerable leader I can, I've ever met. I will cry with my team. I'll laugh with them. Like if things are going crazy, I want them to see like we're all human. We all make mistakes. It's really not that serious if people make mistakes. Like you'll never get in trouble with an adult. I have to tell myself that a lot. Like no one's coming to yell at me. I can't get grounded. Like the worst thing that's going to happen, ever is like what I get fired, but I'm not putting that energy out in the universe. That would happen. That would happen. But I lost my train of thought there. What was the question?
Just how you're able to overcome those emotional like aspects of the job.
Feeling it. Like I really feel it. I use people that I trust as a sounding board and I'm like, am I, for example, we had some girls on the team a few years ago and no matter what we did, no matter what tools we gave them, they just weren't the type of people to step up to their own goals that they set. And so
Hmm.
we had to have, many come to the point, meetings that didn't come of anything and nothing changed. And so I felt like they were quiet quitting. I don't know if you've heard that term, but
Yeah.
just not doing the bare minimum and honestly less than that. And so we just had to let go of people that I really, really cared about. And I just cried. Like I was letting them go and I was like, this is not what I want to be doing. No one wants to be a part of this conversation right now. And I think that helped me with hiring. And let goes calls too is just getting in front of the fact that no one wants to be here right now. Like no
Right.
one wants to be on this call. I'm just delivering the facts of the goals that were not met
Hmm.
that you would set yourself. So just getting in front of that and saying, like, I don't want to be a part of this and just showing my real raw emotions. I don't try to hide anything. I try to just be a human
Hmm.
because when my managers weren't human, when I was doing other things, it just made me feel so out of touch and less fulfilled. And, the people that I was working for, if they don't care, why should I? So
Right.
now I'm just maybe I care too much and I bring work home with me and that's fine. Like that works for me. That doesn't work for everyone.
I mean, I feel like it's good though to care as a CEO, and to your
Yeah.
point, like I think that leads you to making better hiring decisions, although I feel like that's probably the hardest part is because people can always present themselves in a certain way, even if they don't
Yeah.
actually show up that way.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's something too, where it's like, even in business, like I talk about all the time how important it is to find your people, but that's so important with your business too, is finding the right people for your
Yeah.
business who really resonate with what you're doing.
Yes. And in the least toxic way. I don't want my like coworkers to be family, right? But if I'm spending a third of my life with these people, I want to have something in common other than the
Hmm.
fact that we both like cannabis and we both want to work hard. Like I actually want to enjoy the company of the people that I work with. So I think that's absolutely right. Like you can't pick your family and you can't, you can pick your friends, but you can, to an extent, choose who you work with. And so
Yeah.
choose the people that align with what's fulfilling to you in life. And if those people are, if you find someone at a company that they all, like to hang out and do the bare minimum, then that's your place. Like make friends there. And I think that's
Yeah.
amazing and do your job and go home and get off at 5. That actually sounds so mentally relaxing to me. But if you want to go somewhere that's like, I'm going to set my own goals and I have to achieve them and I have to have accountability and that's going to help me grow as a person, then that's fine too. Find a company like that. There's people with expectations all over the board.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such good advice too, is like your job, you are going to be spending so much time at your job, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you run a business, whether you're an employee or like whatever you do, even if you're part-time, you're going to be spending so much of your life at work doing all these things. So it's got to be with people that you enjoy. Like it's going to suck if it's with people that you don't like or that are mean to you. But also, like, I think it's really important to do something that you actually really enjoy doing and something that you really believe in.
I agree. Indeed is as big as Google at this point. Like we can look at Glassdoor and see employee reviews. when you're interviewing with someone for a new job, ask them questions back, like get to know them, ask why do they care about this job? Why are they here? Like try to get the human out of them a little bit, get the HR out of them. Just say like, well, maybe not the HR. If you just try to see like what would it be like to work here? What are the adjectives people say when they describe the culture? Those are things that I would care about when I'm looking for a new job. So maybe like interview the interviewer.
Yeah. And it's so funny when I first like graduated college, like people would talk about the culture of a company and I never really like understood the importance of it. I was like, what does that matter? Like whatever,
Yeah,
like I just want to get a paycheck, whatever.
yeah,
And
that's true.
like the longer that I've been in the workforce, like the more I've realized like how important it is because I have worked at places where I just did not vibe with the culture there and it made it so miserable to work there. But I've also worked at places that I have really, really vibed with the culture, and it has been so much better because when you vibe with the culture, when you vibe with the people, it makes it a lot easier to get through the shitty
Yeah,
days because you're gonna have shitty days, but like when
you're
you
gonna
have
have
people
some
on your
really good days.
side, it makes it easier.
I totally agree. Like, who are the people that are going to lift me up versus ignore me on a shitty day? Because you're right, they're going to happen at every job, no matter what, or else it wouldn't be work because we're learning and we're growing and things are hard and tough, and things pile up. So who do you want to do it with? Like, choose
Yeah.
your fighter,
Right. Absolutely.
choose your
On that
culture.
note, too, how we're kind of like talking about like family and working and all that, you do have a daughter. And so how do you, I think this is something that a lot of women struggle with. One is like maybe they want to start a business, but they have kids, and so they don't think that they'll be able to handle both, or they wonder if they're going to be taking away from their kids, or they think that they have to switch having kids for having this career and running this business. So how do you how do you balance both? How do you handle being an entrepreneur, a CEO, running a business, and being a mom?
That is a great question. I guess I decided life wasn't busy enough being, being out at 27. So I had a baby last year and it's been great. It's been amazing. But I'll be honest, you cannot give 100% of yourself 100% of the time. And I think kids know that. I think your job knows that. I think your spouse knows that. But you just truly have to try your best and show up your best every day. And where you make mistakes, you apologize and you own up to them. Like I get frustrated, I get overstimulated, I get inundated, but you just wake up and you do it again because I think when you're a mom, one, you don't have a choice because you have a human relying on you to have a good life, but also just like you want to set a good example. And I want to show her how to work hard and be a bad bitch and get shit done. Like honestly, that's what I would, consider a successful parenthood is just raising someone that's confident and can do things. And so if I want to teach that, I have to be that. And
Mhm.
so I will, give 100% at work one day and be very busy and, give it my all and then come home and be super tired with her and not show up as my best self. And I might, get upset or not cook the healthiest dinner. But then the next day at work, I'm going to feel like, okay, I need to take my time. I need to pace myself. I need to reschedule some meetings. I'm going to prep a really healthy dinner. I'm going to, take her to the pool and we're going to have fun. But it's just all about balance and realizing like, I just I can't give 100% to everything at all times. And that's okay because,
Mhm.
no one's expecting me to but me. So whenever I'm not living up to this expectation, it's like, you were saying earlier, a lot of the people just won't do anything. And so if I get something out there, it's better than nothing at all. And so that's how I feel. If I did something and I get it done, but it's not perfect, well, someone else didn't even get it done. So
Right.
at least I'm halfway there.
Honestly, that's such a great perspective. Even if I got something done and it wasn't perfect, at least I got it done because someone didn't. I love
Yeah,
that because it's so true.
done is better than perfect.
Right, exactly. And I feel like, at least for me, like that is something that I have had to grow through and I've had to work through because I've wanted to always do something perfectly. And to be fair, there is something to be said for wanting to do a good job, but there
Yeah.
is also something to be said for giving yourself grace to be human and like knowing when it's good enough, right? Like not everything has to be the Taj Mahal. Like
Yeah.
it can be just good enough sometimes. And I think there is really a talent for knowing when it can be that way.
I totally agree. The Hilton and the Marriott, there are no Taj Mahal, but they see plenty of customers.
Right.
So they're going to be just fine.
Right, exactly. And I think too, what you were talking about made me think that when it comes to being a mom and to being a business owner, and if you are doing both or if you're doing just one or the other, it's just giving yourself that grace as we're talking about and kind of trying to work through that guilt and not
Yeah.
expect yourself to have such high expectations of yourself. Is that fair for me to say
Yeah,
here?
yeah, there's absolutely guilt. I'll be like, wow, I can't believe, she has one childhood and I lost my temper and I gave everything to my all, my all to my job today. But then I feel like the difference between maybe other generations is ours is we recognize that. We have the bird eye view and instead of, getting pissed at our kids and then moving on, like we sit there and we're like, no, let's apologize, let's talk through it, let's say why these things happened. I don't want to call it gentle parenting because I don't want to be like permissive either, but just talking about it, like using our words and saying, hey, I worked really hard today. And whenever you threw that truck at my head, it was like my last straw.
Like that wasn't okay,
Right.
that hurt.
I know you were aiming for the window, so it's okay. But
Like, but like also maybe don't throw things at the window because then that
no.
breaks and then mommy has to fix it.
Yeah, and then I have to go work again so we can get a new window. It's parenthood.
I mean, it's interesting that you bring up gentle parenting too, because I feel like people confuse gentle parenting with not parenting at all. And it's
Yeah,
totally different. Like gentle parenting, I think is just it's not shaming your children, it's not yelling at your children, it's not like spanking your children. It's just
yeah,
treating them like a human and speaking to them like a human and like teaching them those lessons in a way that they can really integrate into their little bodies. But I feel
yeah.
like sometimes people think of that as like never disciplining your children, which is different. Like children still need discipline, children still need boundaries, and they still need that structure in order to like become a good person and learn how to operate in the world.
I totally agree. I think there's this balance, and that's why I avoid the word gentle parenting. 'Cause I think people, will think that I don't tell my daughter no, and I
Hmm.
do. Like
Right.
I say don't, I say don't do that. So
Right.
there's just like, okay, yes, maybe, a non-gentle parent would just scream and move on, but I'm gonna say like, hey, I might have like gotten really upset, and I'm sorry about that, but next time, like, we're not gonna do this because that hurts me, whatever, breaks the window, who knows,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
just kind of explaining it and just yeah treating her how I would want to be treated, like if that happened to me, what would I want someone to say to me if
Hmm.
all that's basically how I show up every day with her. I'm like, would I want someone to do this with me, and so hopefully most of the time that's a yes.
So going back to the more business aspect of it, what are for somebody that's maybe starting their business or they're already in their business and they're in the thick of it and they're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, what are the most important things for that person to focus on when they're at the starting stages of their business?
That's a great question. I think defining exactly what your purpose is the first step. And if you haven't done that yet, take a step back because if you don't know what the North Star is, you're just driving aimlessly and you're like, oh, I'm not achieving anything. I haven't hit any goals. Half of hitting a goal is defining it. So if you've defined, my purpose is 1 million medical cards given to patients,
Hmm.
and that's huge, and we've been around for 6 years and we're not even at 500,000. But that's because the North Star, like no one, I would love to touch the North Star. It's possible, but it's so, so far away. And so you just
Hmm.
want to dream really big and set clear, specific, defining goals along the way. So you'll say, okay, this year I'm going to hit 50,000. We're going to do this by doing A, B, and C. And if you set up these very, very specific, defined goals, all you have to do is follow through with them. You already wrote, okay, I'm going to do this many emails. I'm going to do this many ads. I'm going to hire this many people. You basically just have to follow through with your game plan. So I would say a really solid purpose and game plan. Because then also, once you cross the finish line and you say, okay, I've made all this money, I've met all my goals, but have I fulfilled my purpose?
Hmm.
I think that's very, emotional as an entrepreneur. If you've done all these things and you just don't feel fulfilled, that's not, we
Right.
only get one human experience. So do what you think is going to be fulfilling to you. And if I can give 1 million people access to weed, I'm going to be incredibly fulfilled.
Right. And you said that you're at 500,000 right now.
No, we're not even there. Honestly, I was saying, yeah, we've been around
Oh,
for six
okay.
years and we're not even at 500,000. So that's how far away my North Star is. We're at maybe 200.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've been around for a hot minute. So set really big goals, and if you attain, a fourth of them, you're crushing it because you're
Yeah.
doing what no one else is.
Yeah. I was gonna say like you act like you kind of you're sitting here like, oh, we're so far away from our goal, but like still 200,000 people, that's 200,000 people whose lives you touched, whose lives you've helped improved. And like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that is such a great thing for you to have done with everything that you're doing. And I think the only reason that you truly got to 200,000 is because you set the 1 million goal, right? And that's kind of what you're talking about is when you dream big, it's gonna kind of force you into these actions that force you to get there faster. Because if your goal was 100,000, like maybe you would only be at 10,000 at this point, but since it's a million, like your body and your brain is naturally finding ways to think bigger and to get to that number faster since that's your goal.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's so true. Just dream really big and land amongst the stars, and the stars are a really solid place to be. And
Yeah.
you'll get there one day. It's just one step at a time. If you're going to be busy and your calendar is going to be busy, it's up to you. If you're going to be slow and things aren't really moving, that's on you too.
Right. Right. And the beauty in the slow parts is that it gives you time to really think about, hey, is this actually what I want to be doing? Are we actually on track for where we're supposed to be? Like, why do I have so much free time when I have this really big goal and I'm so far away?
Yes, yes. You should not have free time if you have a big goal and haven't hit it. Totally agree. It's like I see the next 5 years of my life and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm pretty unavailable actually.
Actually, can you call me in 3 years? I might open up then.
Like when I don't have a toddler and we have a million patients, I think I'll be free. But then, I'll probably be doing something else because I don't like to be
Right.
bored.
Right. Well, because then the goalpost always moves.
Yes, but that's why the purpose is important because you don't want, goals can be achieved. And then once you've hit them, just leave with no regrets. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note too, I know we've talked about how you have this goal for a million medical cards and helping a million people, but what else do you see Elevate Holistics turning into? What do you see coming for you in the future or what you want to achieve?
That's a great question. We have been really investing in the telemedicine space. So since we've perfected the forms and the flow and the changes and the ability to pivot, we thought like what other things that we do that are holistic and that are helping people. So we've looked into psilocybin, we've looked into TRT, we've looked into all these like stem cell therapies and just how we can get access to patients from home online at a great price, just connecting doctors with people that want to get access to things. And so that's been huge for Elevate. But me personally, I would love to teach women how to do what I do, how to just break the barriers, not listen to timelines when it comes to job trajectory or, promotions. Like there's no time limit. Any time limits that were decided at a time, and now it's 2025. It's a new time. Skills can be developed a hell of a lot faster.
Hmm.
So just breaking through these constructed norms and saying, this is my vision, this is my purpose, and I'm here to fulfill it. Like you'll be amazed what you can do. Yeah.
I think that's such a great point of view because timelines are something that we set on ourselves. And you're right. I mean, you're a living, breathing example of how timelines don't matter. It's about your energy and it's about what you do and about how you show up more so than it is about time itself. But I have a good story about that too. When I first started in sales, first out of college, I was a BDR, that's the person doing all the cold calls. And all the stuff that people don't want to do. But
Those
I
are
was in
hot.
that job. And then the next progression is a sales executive, right? And so I was talking to the sales leader at that time and I loved him. He was a great guy, but he was like just trying to be honest with me, like, oh no, you probably won't even like be considered for that for like 2 years just because that's like how it's happened. But then I ended up getting promoted after like 10 months, I would say, probably around like that mark. And like only a couple months after we had that conversation. And I remember I went to him afterwards, like after I got the like official promotion.
Like how?
And I literally was like, I told you so. And he just
Oh
burst
my
out laughing. He's
God.
like, I can't believe you just said that to me. But I was like, but it's true. Like, you do not have to live by a timeline that somebody else sets for you. You get to decide for yourself what you want your timeline to be. And then you get
Yeah.
to go out and do those actions yourself in order to get there.
That is so cool. I love that. You're like, watch me. That's my favorite thing. Oh, 2 years? Okay, watch me.
Yeah, it's like
And
bet.
you planted that seed. And I think a lot of people, the whole done is better than perfect thing. I think a lot of people just wouldn't have brought it up. They would say, oh, 2 years. Okay, let me go do my time. And it's like the first offer is never the best offer.
Right.
Like
Right.
1 year would have been better, but 10 months, like, there we go. I'll take it. That's
Yeah.
a true watch me moment. I love that.
Yeah. And it was funny too, because they actually ended up making this role, it was kind of like a newer role, so that I could be promoted. So things happen. Like when you set your mind to something, like things happen, you just gotta let yourself believe that it is possible for you.
You're right. The universe, like you dream of something, you wanted to move on faster, and the universe was like, oh, I can do it really fast.
Yeah.
I can cut their timeline over 50%. So
Yeah. Like, okay, sis, buckle up. Like, we're gonna go.
awesome. And then you get into that role, and then you have imposter syndrome, and you're like, was I promoted too early? And it's like, no, you got yourself there. Everything aligned to get you there. Now do it again. Double it. Like just do it 3 more times.
Yep.
It's a game. We're all playing a game. So just, manipulate it.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
negative.
Use the cheat codes.
Yeah, cheat codes. That's
Yeah.
good. Helpful hints.
So Aspen, what if somebody wants to get involved with you or with Elevate Holistics or with the medical cannabis industry in general, how can they get in contact or how can they best do that with you?
Great question. So if you want to become a patient, you want to get legal, elevate-holistics.com, 3 steps, 15 minutes, you'll be legal. If you want to make money off of getting people medical cards, you can join our affiliate program. So you'll just go right to that same website, sign up to be an affiliate. You'll make 10% on all of the patients you send to us, plus all of your patients will save 10%. But if you want to just connect with me on LinkedIn, it's Aspen Noonan. I love connecting with other women, other entrepreneurs, lifting each other up, sharing likes, sharing stories. Maybe you could follow how I post on LinkedIn and how I interact with people and just kind of get some inspiration. Honestly, you could take some of my posts and plug them into ChatGPT and say, recreate these for my industry and just, keep doing that and see who am I inspired by and then just kind of work toward what they're doing. So I really think Alex Cooper is such a bad bitch. I'm sure you do too. I think she's so cool. She's, a leader in the industry and she looks good doing it. And so I'm like, what is she doing? She doesn't take no for an answer. Like what else does she do? And so I take her helpful hints, I take her life hacks and I'm like, okay, how can I apply these today to get me where I want to be tomorrow? So also I'm creating a coupon code for all the listeners if anyone wants to get their
Great.
medical card. All caps, no spaces, girls' night. It'll be
Okay.
20% off all states, new and renewal cards. And that'll be live right now.
Wow, that is so generous. So everybody definitely take advantage of that offer from Aspen for the 20% off. Also, the affiliate program, amazing. And if you want to get your medical card too, obviously just make it easier for yourself and take advantage of the services that Aspen is offering to you. If you have any questions deeper, you can reach out to me. I'll get you connected with Aspen as well. But as she said, you're able to connect with her on LinkedIn as well. So I'll include all of those different, all the information in the show notes and all the different links, all the good stuff there so that it's easy for y'all to get into contact with her. But Aspen, is there any last piece of advice that you want to leave our listeners with?
Yes, and that is done is better than perfect. Get something done, get your name out there, make mistakes and do it again and do it the most and stay in your industry and stay with your purpose.
I love that. Done is better than perfect and stay with your purpose. I love it. Those are two great takeaways.
Thanks. This was so much fun. I love obviously talking about weed, but just hopefully we can inspire one person to say, hey, I'm going to talk to my boss about a raise, or I'm going to plant a seed, or I'm going to start doing something in my off time instead of scrolling TikTok, which trust me, I do that too. Like we're all
We
we're
all do.
all we all do it. So you can still be successful with a bum TikTok account.
Yes.
It's possible.
It's possible. It is totally possible. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you later, or we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you liked what you heard, then go ahead and subscribe so you get updates with us every week. You can also follow us on Instagram at KRC Coaching. If you're interested in working one-on-one, then go ahead and visit our website, krccoaching.com, to book your first 30-minute session for free. All right, thanks so much, you guys. Love you. Bye.